Hey, so I just made a video which we'll post tomorrow that goes so beautifully with this A Course in Miracles. Like I'm buoyant. That's my word of the day today. I feel buoyant because I just made this video and then I opened up the A Course in Miracles app on my phone and started kind of scrolling through some of the lessons because I don't want to do them all. Like this is more of just a what resonates with me today kind of thing. What do I want to read from this? And this just like goes perfectly with what I was just talking about. So if you don't want to listen to this, there's a video tomorrow that basically is just me talking about this, and randomly here it is. So I love this. So I'm going to read this, and it's pretty short, and then I'm going to scroll through some more and see if there's any more I want to read. And on this blessed day of God, the Sabbath, we will see what comes up, I guess. But lesson 103, I don't think I've read this one yet. God, being love, is also happiness. Happiness is an attribute of love. It cannot be apart from it, nor can it be experienced where love is not. Love has no limits, being everywhere, and therefore joy is everywhere as well. Yet can the mind deny that this is so, believing there are gaps in love where sin can enter, bringing pain instead of joy. This strange belief would limit happiness by redefining love as limited and introducing opposition in what has no limit and no opposite. I just made the connection between the word opposition and opposite. I've been noticing this a lot lately. Sorry to interrupt this beautiful message from A Course in Miracles. I love words. And lately I've been noticing there are some words where I just never made the connection between like opposition and opposite. I don't know why those two words never connected for me in my mind before. Okay, thoughts to keep to myself in the future. Fear is associated then with love, and its results become the heritage of minds that think what they have made is real. These images, with no reality and truth, bear witness to the fear of God. Forgetting being love, he must be joy. This basic error we will try again to bring to truth today and teach ourselves God being love is also happiness. To fear him is to be afraid of joy. The video that I just made essentially is a reminder, is just to like reintroduce or talk about again the idea that you are not here to be punished. My video yesterday was also about this, actually, and I didn't really make the connection until I was making the video today. Like, you're not here to experience unfulfillment. It's just not a thing. That's something that's made up. And I think a lot of people carry around the idea that maybe they're here to experience pain and that that's part of it for them. I think if you're at a point where you're conscious enough to even have that thought, you've already experienced enough pain. Once you become conscious, I think, and self-aware, that's the point at which pain, I think, for you serves as less and less of an effective teacher. When you're asleep, I think pain is often the thing that wakes you up. But once you've been woken up, just because that's what needed to happen for you in the past to wake you up doesn't mean that that's what needs to happen in the future. So that's kind of what I was talking about, just the idea that I think a lot of very aware people, maybe people that are really struggling, I could see if you're really struggling in an area, how you could easily just like be like, this is just a punishment area for me. I'm just here to be miserable in this area. I think if you're conscious enough to have those thoughts, you're conscious enough to embrace that they don't make any sense, really. Like, if you're conscious and you're aware of your consciousness, and you're aware of just, if you can make any connection to, I'm creating this for myself, you're already too far along the path for anything like, I'm here to be a punishment to be relevant to you. It's just not. And this, I think, is something, it was only 2 paragraphs. I'm tempted to read them again. But, this is like the base idea. Everything you want is available. Your happiness is available. Joy is available. Love is everywhere. All these things, whatever word you like to use. I've always been kind of opposed to the word love because of the association it has to romantic love, which was like a big issue for me till 5 years ago. So I'm like a little averse to it. I'm much more comfortable with the idea of peace, fulfillment, happiness, joy, just a very light feeling like you're perfectly aligned with the source of, easy creation in the world. Like, that idea feels better for me than love is everywhere. I don't know. Love is just such a bastardized term at this point that it's hard for me to grab onto that. But I'm guessing the same is true for some of you. So maybe you too can more, with less resistance, embrace the idea that peace is actually everywhere. Like, all of the turmoil is being created in your mind. Which, when you realize all the turmoil is being created in your mind, the next logical conclusion is, well, if I could stop creating the turmoil in my mind, then everything out here is hunky-dory and peaceful, and a state of peace is available if I just unlearn all of this stuff that is creating all of this turmoil. So this was like the perfect thing to, read for me, because there's this idea that God or the universe or just the life experience or yourself or something, there's, I think, a feeling of, this is something to be afraid of. This is something that wants to punish me. And it's simply not so. God being love is also happiness. To fear him is to be afraid of joy. So, that's something to think about. This is a short one. I was going to read more, but there was this woman that just walked by. Maybe I'll keep going. There was a woman that just walked by with her dog, and she was giving me the evil eye the whole time. And there's a tendency around these parts. There's a lot of old people that live in the area where I'm parked right now, and they just call the cops on you if they don't like you. They just call the cops. You could be sitting there in a perfectly legal parking space, minding your own business, and they call the cops on you. This has happened to me before. Okay, I don't think the cops coming to get me, so we'll keep going. Let me just see. If I scroll past any of these and there's something that you want to hear, leave me a comment. God's peace and joy are mine. All right, I'm going to read this one. God's peace and joy are yours. Today we will accept them, knowing they belong to us. Paranoid. And we will try to understand these gifts increase as we receive them. They are not like to the gifts the world. They're not the same as the gifts the world can give, in which the giver loses as he gives the gift. The taker is the richer by his loss. Such are not gifts, but bargains made with guilt. The truly given gift entails no loss. It is impossible that one can gain because another loses. This implies a limit and an insufficiency. And this is a direct parallel to the science of getting rich. So if you don't like this wording, but you like the idea, this is the direct parallel to scarcity mentality, that there's a limited supply, that if you manifest something, it has to take something away from someone else. And that I think is a big resistance for people, because they think, it's like one of two things. Either I get what I want and it takes something away from someone else, or what I want is hopeless because the odds of me getting it are so low, because it's such a scarce thing, because it's something only a few people can have, and a few people already have it, that type of thing. This scarcity mentality thing is, I think, probably the biggest impediment to people for manifesting things. And it's just there for all of us. Like, I definitely don't think I have escaped it in any way, but, especially right now, people feel like all the resources are being monopolized by Elon Musk and, or whatever. It's like, eat the rich because they're just hoarding everything. That may be technically true in some way. I don't really know. I don't really know the economics behind all of that. But if that's taken on sort of like a feeling for you about your prospects, what's available for you, that is the thing where when you release that, everything starts flowing again. When you just honestly, I think the easiest thing to do is to just get all those ideas out of your head. Because really the only idea that you can embrace, I think, deeply, that relieves the scarcity is that there is an unlimited supply. Like, Wallace Wattles' terminology I love. He's like, if all of the gold in the world is, or whatever. If you need gold and there isn't any, people will be compelled to go into the mountains and mine it or whatever. And if you've mined all of the available gold in the world, more will be made from the ether. So basically, it's an illusion that anything physical in this world is limited, because this is a thinking, creating space. And, you know, things can be created basically out of nowhere. I'm really not doing a good job. I'm really not doing a good job of conveying that message, I don't think. My entire Science of Getting Rich audio and commentary is free. It is linked below, and it's much more coherent. But the idea of scarcity is one of the big impediments. You can't both be creating. Think about it. You can't both be holding the idea of limited supply and unlimited supply at the same time. You just can't. So you're always creating from one or the other. And for me, anytime I'm in one of those, I kind of have an imaginal idea. Like right now I'm sitting here in my car on surface level, you know, I'm a couple feet above the ground and I'm looking out in front of me, and this is the world. This is the level of scarcity. This is where the illusion of scarcity exists. So anytime I find myself having thoughts of scarcity, which are very noticeable because they're unpleasant, they create a sensation of discomfort, or what's the word? Not depression, but like I just feel disappointed, I guess would be the right way to put it. Just kind of like, I can't get what I want. It's, you know, I'm very sensitive to feelings of discomfort because I know they mean something. And so anytime I feel that and I recognize, ooh, this is a scarcity thing, I literally imagine, I imagine myself literally rising off the earth up to the level of where airplanes fly, let's just say. And up there is the level of unlimited resources. So I'm creating on this scarcity plane from the unlimited resource plane. Now, does that actually do anything? I don't know, but what it does is it shifts my feeling. It shifts my perspective. Just that visual. I'm just like, oops, I fell into the scarcity trap again. And luckily for me, I've had experience in this area, so I know that, you know, it doesn't matter how little there seems to be available out there. I know that if I'm in the right mindset, I can get whatever it is. You know what I mean? It just doesn't, there's not enough of this, doesn't generally affect me all that much at this point because I've seen it work, especially with money and business and stuff. And, you know, it doesn't matter what era of time you're in. There are always people out there that are saying all the opportunities have been monopolized. We're screwed. I mean, think how many people are saying that right now out there. Like, people are so dejected. If you look back through history, they've always been there, even in the times where everything was just beginning. I mean, right now we're at like the dawn of this AI age, and who knows what abundance and opportunities that's going to create. And there are still people out there saying all the opportunities are monopolized. We're screwed. That's it. It's always like that. You have to just ignore all of those people and all the evidence they present, and create what you want from the right mentality. And anyway, let me just read this again, since I just went off on that giant tangent. God's peace and joy are yours. Today we will accept them, knowing they belong to us, and we will try to understand these gifts increase as we receive them. They are not like to the gifts the world can give, in which the giver loses as he gives the gift. The taker is the richer by his loss. Such are not gifts, but bargains made with guilt. The truly given gift entails no loss. It is impossible that one can gain because another loses. This implies a limit and an insufficiency. And this goes right hand in hand with all the other like big texts and stuff that most of which I haven't read, that you know, talk about this sort of universal law that giving is receiving. Now, I don't know exactly how that works, but I, at, you know, a tender, impressionable age, just accepted, okay, I can buy that that's true. I don't have to know how it works. I just buy that it's true. So if I give, especially to the point where I get a little uncomfortable, if I give to that point, I will receive much more back, because that's what this thing says. And so I purposely have done that throughout my life, and it's been demonstrated for me. Whether that's my expectation or not, I mean, it's pretty, if it's just based on that's what I thought was going to happen, well, cool. Then I can have the wonderful experience of giving to others, and then receiving back like way, way more than I gave. Why wouldn't you want that? Anyway, no gift is given thus. Okay, wait, where's my context? It is impossible that one can gain because another loses. This implies a limit and an insufficiency. No gift is given thus. Such gifts, quotes, gifts, are but a bid for a more valuable return. A loan with interest to be paid in full. A temporary lending, meant to be a pledge of debt to be repaid with more than was received by him who took the gift. That sounds like what I just said. This strange distortion of what giving means pervades all levels of the world you see. It strips all meaning from the gifts you give, and leaves you nothing in the ones you take. So does everything I just said about how I see giving bad? A major learning goal this course has set is to reverse your view of giving so you can receive. For giving has become a source of fear. Okay, it's definitely not a source of fear for me. For giving has become a source of fear, and so you would avoid the only means by which you can receive. Okay, I see what it was saying now. So basically it's saying, if you give from a place of scarcity, you feel like you've lost something. And okay, that makes sense. Sorry for any confusion. This is just fun for me. So yeah, when you give a gift, whatever it is, it's not talking about like an actual gift, but your time, your whatever, your forgiveness. When you give a gift from the sort of like scarcity level mentality, there's an energy with it that you've lost something, that you're down now, and that somebody else has more than you. And so it makes it difficult to feel like you can afford to give. I totally get this now. Okay. A major learning goal this course has set is to reverse your view of giving so you can receive. For giving has become a source of fear, and so you would avoid the only means by which you can receive. Accept God's peace and joy, and you will learn a different way of looking at a gift. God's gifts will never lessen when they are given away. They but increase thereby. So when you give somebody the gift of forgiveness, for example, you receive much more in return. You receive, a certain lightening of yourself. You can afford to do that. As heaven's peace and joy intensify when you accept them as God's gift to you, so does the joy of your Creator grow when you accept His joy and peace as yours. True giving is creation. It extends the limitless to the unlimited, eternity to timelessness, and love unto itself. It adds to all that is complete already, not in simple terms of adding more, for that implies that it was less before. It adds by letting what cannot contain itself fulfill its aim of giving everything it has away, securing it forever to itself. Today, accept God's peace and joy as yours. Let Him complete Himself as He defines completion. You will understand that what completes Him must complete His Son as well. He cannot give through loss. No more can you. Receive His gift of joy and peace today, and He will thank you for your gift to Him. So now I want to revisit what I said about giving. Or do I? I do expect, I guess like it's just sort of a mechanical thing now. Like and I'm speaking entirely almost of money and stuff like that. Like if I see a need, I will fulfill it for people, especially if it's financial in nature, because I just kind of see myself as the steward of stuff and resources and stuff like that. I guess I feel like I have more than most people do, so I don't want that to go in the wrong direction. So, if a family member of mine needs something and can't afford it, or if I see like this person can do this thing, but it will make them uncomfortable. This could be kind of unhealthy, by the way, too. I'm not sure, but if I see somebody who needs something, I will pretty quickly jump in to try to do that thing. And I definitely, because I was broke. Like, if you don't know my story here, I was bankrupt and trying to become an entrepreneur and everything for a while before it took. So I know what, I know what it's like to be broke. In like 10 years, I went from not being able to pay rent to having a net worth of over $1 million, which I don't know. Most people don't do that. It didn't happen in 1 year, but it happened in a decade, which is pretty fast, especially going from being broke. I don't know. I don't have a frame of reference anymore for if that is like something that seems out of the ordinary. I don't know why. I just don't know if that even seems out of the ordinary anymore. But back then, like in the beginning of that, I was doing a lot of this Science of Getting Rich stuff consciously, and Deepak Chopra, the seven spiritual laws of success, definitely has a thing about giving in it, about feeling like you can afford to give, or if you don't have anything to give, you can just give positive thoughts and energy to people. And I really embraced that because it just kind of like resonated and made sense to me. So I really embraced that, but it was scary at first to feel like I could afford to do that. And so I would be presented with instances where I was like, I want to help this person, but this stretches me. Like this pushes me to the edge of where what I'm comfortable with. And so I would do it. I would take the action, but I would very clearly have an intention about it. I would say, I know that I'm not coming from scarcity. I know that giving is receiving. I know that I will probably get back. Or I would say to myself, I'm going to do this and I'm going to expect to get much more back in return than I'm giving. And then I would just do it. I would just do it and hope for the best, But that's how I've experienced this firsthand with like resources as we think of them. That's just money. Like, of course, this could be applied to like everything. Like how much compassion am I willing to extend to this person who isn't doing what I want, or isn't, is offending me or something? How much forgiveness am I willing to extend to this person who like horribly violated me or wronged me? That's where I think it gets fuzzier and harder to work with. And I think that's what this lesson's talking about. Okay, where did I stop? Okay, today, well, let me just read the practice period stuff. I don't know if anybody's really doing these practice periods, but today our practice periods will start a little differently. Begin today by thinking of those brothers who have been denied by you the peace and joy that are their right under equal laws of God. Here you denied them to yourself, and here you must return to claim them as your own. Think of your enemies a little while, and tell each one as he occurs to you, my brother, peace and joy I offer you, that I may have God's peace and joy as mine. Thus you prepare yourself to recognize God's gift to you, and let your mind be free of all that would prevent success today. Now are you ready to accept the gift of peace and joy that God has given you? Now are you ready to experience the joy and peace you have denied yourself? Now you can say, God's peace and joy are mine, for you have given what you would receive. You must succeed today if you prepare your mind as we suggest, for you have let all bars to peace and joy be lifted up, and what is yours can come to you at last. So tell yourself, God's peace and joy are mine, and close your eyes a while. Let his voice assure you that the words you speak are true. This reminds me of a video that I made like 5 years ago. About something that I noticed that's like right in line with this, something that I noticed happening in myself. When I started this channel, I had gotten myself into pretty much the ideal physical form for me. Nearly the best I could be. And unfortunately, like it didn't, while that was largely able to come about thanks to the idea in the video that will come out tomorrow and some of the stuff here, like just that I realized I wasn't destined to never have that outer thing that I wanted. That alone was enough to kind of like clear the blocks, and getting into really good physical shape can be done in a very mundane way. It can be you just discipline really brings it about. If you're disciplined about what you eat and what you do for exercise, you will get pretty close to the best you can be. It doesn't require a lot of jumping through hoops. That's really a lot about how much control you have over yourself. But unfortunately, it didn't come about because I changed all my opinions about the importance of that thing. And so the skewed ideas I had about that were still at play, and they just started coming out in other ways. I just was I was almost not any happier because I was still so critical of myself. I just found a lot of other things to be unhappy with. And I started to kind of at that point, I think around 40 is when I started to sort of see signs of aging in myself, like the turkey neck started kind of showing up, and, some lines and stuff that I didn't see before that. And so it's I immediately just started fixating on that stuff too. It was I just escaped this other thing, and now this other thing is showing up. But, it was pretty obvious to me that this was a mental thing. It wasn't something legitimate. It was I was creating this, and it was pretty obvious. And so, as I started to kind of notice those things, certain ideas I have and have intentions about changing the mental stuff, some of that stuff started working itself out. And as it did, I noticed almost immediately how my judgments on other people started to kind of drop away. So maybe in the past I would have had some sort of critical comment about somebody. I think the example in the video was I'd see somebody laying on a beach chair, in a bathing suit, just really out of shape. And I would have some sort of judgmental thought about that. And then I noticed one day that I saw an image like that and sort of had that habitual reaction. And then immediately, I was filled with I don't know, there was just a shift, a mental shift about it, where suddenly I saw that person as just a human trying to deal with everything that everybody tries to deal with, just plagued and burdened with all of the heaviness of life, just having a fucking moment, sitting on a chair, relaxing and feeling some sun for once, just minding their own business, they're doing the best they can. And here I am, judging that person. And it was obvious to me, the judgments I had on that person were the judgments I had for myself, because as those started to, ease up, I noticed the immediate, parallel to the judgment on that person, and this shame sort of overcame me for a moment. How could you think that about that person? It just, I noticed that automatically change. And for me, that was I don't know if that made any sense. I hope it did. But for me, that was a clear demonstration, that I observed. It's I wasn't even, it almost felt like I wasn't a part of it. I just observed that what you're doing to other people is just what you're doing to yourself. So this is kind of a backwards way, or a backdoor way, or maybe this is the right way to do it. I don't know. For me, I'm always about, nothing and no one to change but self. And this is sort of put it on your enemy. Think of your enemy as innocent, and you will think of yourself as innocent. So that's sort of just forget what Neville Goddard called it. It's just sort of going the other direction. It's coming at it from, it's working it backwards, or in my opinion. You don't have to really think about anyone else at all. When you forgive yourself, you will automatically forgive other people. But it would make sense that, what is that, the transitive property? It would make sense that if you focus on other people and see the innocence in them, that will also, cause you to see the innocence in yourself. Or by innocence, I mean, just letting go of all the judgments you have of everything about yourself that are obstructions to just peace and joy and happiness, whatever. But anyway, I'm going to stop there, since this is a half hour long, and I don't even know if any of that made any sense. I never know where these things are going to go when I start. But yeah, I just remembered that memory from 5 years ago, or 4 years ago. I don't know when it was, 5 years ago, where I was it was noticeable, the difference in the way I viewed and perceived this stranger, just this image. Really, I wasn't there. It was an image I saw. It was just so apparent, because it was such a deviation from, the way I, the knee-jerk reaction that I had to it, the habitual reaction. This new thing came in, and I felt ashamed of myself for having held another person, like even looked at another person that way. Like this poor person, I don't even know them. And I have this judgment. It's all about myself, you know? So it was like, you know, I gave myself the gift of stopping judging myself. And then I saw other people differently. And that, you know, their human struggle and innocence and all of that was apparent to me also. Anyway, all right. Well, yeah, I hope that was beneficial to anybody, and have a great day. The video I'm putting up tomorrow is right in line with this. Yeah, have a great day.